Well, what's going on, everybody? It is just me tonight on the microphone solo. Jerry is, last I heard, somewhere in Kentucky on his way home from Alabama for a work trip. So I didn't want to miss another show. We didn't do it last week. So you never know with us anymore. The shows just keep kind of bouncing around, kind of as our schedules allow, really, to be honest with you. And I'll be honest with you. This is the longest I think I've gone without shooting regularly, probably since I've started taking photos almost. I honestly can't even remember the last time I picked up a camera, which is really not the norm for me at all. So I am a little upset about that, but it's kind of given me some time to, I don't know, think about what I want to be shooting, what I want to be doing, what I have planned for 2022. Hey, looks like we got Mr. Thomas watching live tonight. Thank you, Tom, John, for tuning in. I almost called you Tom. Tom Jonas. What up, Dwayne? How's it going? Glad to have some of our regulars on here watching tonight, especially since it's going to be just me. Hey, and I can always count on my beautiful, sweet girlfriend, Shelly, to be here. What? Adam? Adam? I can't believe Adam's here watching as well. It's been a long time, buddy. I hope everything's going well for you. Like I said, just me tonight. Jerry's on the road, and so I don't know how long this show will run. Those of you that know me personally know that I could probably do this show for a full hour all by myself and not stop talking the entire time, except for maybe an occasional sip of Gatorade or something, to wet the old whistle. But a couple of things I wanted to talk about tonight. One of those, hey, Mr. McFeeders is here as well. Man, we're just filling up tonight with all the coolest people I know. I appreciate that. Uh, but like I said, there are a couple of things I just want to talk about that I've been thinking about as far as photography goes, especially given this prolonged drought that I'm in with photography. And I'm just going to tell you some of the things I've been doing to occupy some of that free time as well. So the first one is, this is going to be an odd one, but I haven't had really too many hobbies since I took up photography. I mean, it's consumed my life. And spending close to 10 years as an ambassador with Olympus, that kept me super busy. It was like a job. I had a full-time job that I worked to put food on the table. And then I had another semi full-time job with Olympus, keeping gear on the shelves, I guess, and this might get noisy. This might get kind of crazy, but I'm going to let Jerry in. He's on the road from his car. God, I hope we don't have an accident on a live broadcast, but here we go. What's up, Jerry? It's awful dark in your car, bud.
This is not Jerry. This is Bob Lazar. I used to work at Area 51.
Bob Lazar. Oh my gosh, that's a name for sure. So do you have any of that rare material that allows for anti-gravity propulsion in your car?
That's right. That's why I'm bringing it back.
He's bringing it back.
Alabama.
He's bringing back the Area 51 stuff. So,
Hey,
yeah,
are you getting an echo?
nope, no echo at all. It sounds really good.
I was worried about that. Yeah.
Nope. So,
Nice.
Jerry is presenting us with a black screen. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can do about that.
no, I know. I don't expect it. So I was just telling everybody that, yeah, don't do that. You nuts. Um, yeah, this is probably the first podcast I think I've done with somebody who's driving down the freeway at night. So very
Hey,
interesting
we're trendsetters, man. Pretty soon everybody will be doing it.
for sure. The so Adam says Jerry sounds good for a change and looks better than ever. That's
Thanks,
great.
Adam.
So I was just telling everybody that since I took up photography, I really haven't had too many hobbies, and because photography just took up all my time between work and family, and then the stuff I was doing with Olympus, that was just everything. So my
Right.
hobby was photography. And oh my God, Dwayne, Dwayne says, once you go black, I am just totally leaving that there. Um, So, anyways, oh my gosh, dude, Dwayne is good at getting me like completely like sidetracked with some of his comments. Holy crap. So what I was going to say, I had no hobbies other than photography, and that's fine. I loved it.
Right.
Loved every minute of it. Still do.
Yeah,
But
pretty much same here.
I have taken quite a bit of time off this winter. This winter has just hit me in a way that I wasn't expecting. So I started looking at things to do to occupy my time. So one of those things that I took up was leather crafting. So I do an Amazon affiliate account, you know, and I share links, and then I get Amazon credits that I can spend on Amazon. So it gives me a chance to buy things that maybe I wouldn't have bought if it was my own money. So I bought a bunch of leather, and I bought all the tools I needed. And I know this isn't the fanciest thing ever for a first project, but I have been a big fan of some camera straps that I got from a company out of Brooklyn, New York called Tap and Die, and loved their products. I love leather straps. There's just something about them because they patina over time. They just get this look and this feel to them. And I don't know, there's just something classy, I think, about like a leather strap. So that was
Yeah,
my
they look
first
good.
that was one of my first projects. Actually, I made this camera strap for Jerry to throw on like his Pen or Fuji or something like that, you know, one of the smaller cameras. But so that was something that I started getting into. You know, it's been probably a little over a month now since I started messing with that. And granted, I got into a hobby to fill in the photography void. And the first thing I start doing is making things for photography because I just don't know any
Right.
better. But that's just one of the things that I started taking up. Like I said, was getting into another hobby, and like I said, I can't just get away from photography completely. And I figured I might as well start doing things that are going to, you know, tie into my photography because I don't want to drift so far away from photography by not doing it for a period of time. I'm like terrified that I'll just not want to do it anymore. Um, but I think that I've kind of realized also that this empty spot in my life of not having photography makes me want to do it anymore. So I'm kind of over my initial fear of thinking I wouldn't want to pick up the camera again. And I think maybe sort of staying in it kind of on the peripheral, making some things like this camera strap. And I've got a couple other camera straps in the works right now. Have kind of kept me tied into it no matter what. So that's just one of those things, like I said, that I had got into to fill the void. Hey, it's Mr. Jeff Zimmerl. I never know if I'm saying people's names right, so I'm apologizing, Jeff, in advance if I'm not. I'll have to get Jeff on to talk about the new OM1 camera because Jeff actually just got one. So congratulations to him. So anyways, I keep saying so anyways, and I keep going back to the same thing over and over. But so I recommend to people, if you're feeling a little burnt out or just not inspired to go take pictures, start looking at hobbies that kind of keep you on the edge of photography. At least that's something that I did, like I said, and it's kind of worked for me to fill that gap while I wait for better weather. I think that was the big thing for me here in the Midwest. Winters can be kind of depressing. They're gray skies and everything is brown. There are
Yeah, this has been a pretty whack winter, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's been a
We didn't get really no ice or snow buildup on the lake shore. It was just cold.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that's maybe it's my age showing. You know, I just feel like the winters have gotten to where I just don't have something to drive me to get out there and shoot it. You know, there's nothing.
Yeah, this year was a little lame though, man. I mean, I tried, but there was just we never really had any good days. Like there, I had some seniors that I needed to shoot that
Yeah,
wanted winter shots, and we could
yeah,
never get them because we never got a day where there was just a bunch of snow.
right.
You know, we had a few days, but then like our schedules didn't line up, or it was the few days that we did get a bunch of snow, it was 6 degrees outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And I
Yep.
mean that's fine for landscape, but you're not shooting seniors in 6 degrees unless you want to remove red fingers and red noses. So
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, it's something I never thought of. You know, when you get out there, people's skin and skin tones start doing weird things.
yeah,
You know, and trying to edit that out definitely not something I'd want to have to tackle. And it's good
Right.
to know that it's not just you and I, it's other people as well. Dwayne says, he's right there
Oh,
with
I'm
us.
sure.
Said
Yeah.
winners killed his photography game
So
too. So
it was a lame winter, man. Nothing interesting. Nothing really got really like, for example, Point Betsy.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It did nothing up there. You know what I mean?
right. And that is probably one of the coolest lighthouses to go shoot in Michigan in the wintertime, just because of where it's located and everything gets so covered in ice and coated. It's so cool up
Right.
there.
And I was just using that as an example as to how like just nothing really panned out this winter for. I mean,
Right.
unless you want to shoot a couple dirt roads or something, I did that, but
Yep. I think
yeah.
I have a few shots from over this winter, but really not much. Honestly, I just shot pictures of my truck just because
Right.
I really didn't have anything else out there that was catching my attention to shoot. But aside from getting into the hobby of leather making,
Yeah.
leather tooling,
I
yeah. So the other thing I did, oh boy. So, so the other, sorry for the text message there. So the other thing I started doing was planning for when it was going to be nice. So I've got this Word document that I'm working in that's planning out a trip to the Dakotas, to the Badlands. I've been I'm gonna pull Jerry out of the stream. He's probably in a bad spot. I'm gonna pull you out, Jerry. Drive
back.
safe, bud. All right, see ya. We'll cut him off. But I started planning this trip to the Dakotas, to the Badlands. I've never been there. Shelly's never been there. I've been telling her for almost a year now that we would go there when I got my Bronco. So I've been putting together this list of locations that I want to visit in the Dakotas to shoot stuff for us to go see. Started looking at the logistics behind it because I'm planning on ferrying us over across Lake Michigan. There's a huge ferry that I can just load the truck right up on and cut straight across Lake Michigan into Wisconsin and then drive up through the Dakotas and then loop back around through Michigan's Upper Peninsula on the return trip home. So there's a lot of moving parts for that. So that's been really good. It's been a good escape. It's given me something super positive to look forward to. Obviously it's still a ways off yet. It's not going to be, I don't want to go when it's like 150 degrees in the Dakotas. It's wide open and kind of barren up there. So, but again, it's something for me and hopefully her to look forward to as well, to get out and shoot. So I've been doing a lot of research. Other photographers that I know who've been there, I've just kind of been trolling their Flickr accounts, their Facebook profiles, their Instagram accounts, looking for inspiration. And let's see. Hold on here. I got some messages here in the chat to catch up with. So Jeffrey says, "Yep, a roller is coaster winter." Yes, I know what you mean, Jeffrey. It's definitely been up and down with the temperatures and all that. Dwayne says 1880 town is cool. You'll have to hit me up in the messages here, Dwayne, and tell me where 1880 town is. I'm assuming it's in the Dakotas. So I'll start doing some research on that as well. And Adam asked if I ever got to do the Iceland trip. No, I'm still sitting on travel vouchers, and that has to happen this year. I'm running out of time before those will inevitably expire. Honestly, the big thing for me was I wanted to get to this point where we didn't have to worry about doing all these COVID tests. Number one, it's expensive. I mean, for my boys and I all get COVID tested. I think the test that they want, you're looking at like $85 a person each way. So, well, at least $80 a person here in the United States. Over there, it's a little more. So we'd be looking, at probably about like $600 just for COVID tests to travel. And then God forbid one of us tests positive, because you have to do it so close to when you're leaving. If one of us tests positive, the whole trip gets canceled at that point. So I wanted to get to a point in the world where we weren't doing COVID tests before I even thought about booking this. And it looks like they'll be lifting restrictions soon. It sounds like, I think this month actually is what I was reading online. So once those lift, I think I'll start investigating booking it. So yeah, we're definitely going to do it. What else do we have here? Shelly says she can't wait. Good. I'm glad she's excited to go to the Dakotas too. It's rattlesnakes and bighorn sheep and bison and eagles and cool landscapes. So it'll be a fun trip. I'm literally going to do this whole show just sharing what you guys are saying. So Jeffrey Mafeeder says that both North and South Dakota Badlands are amazing, and he spent time in the Black Hills, really something. So yes, again, a lot of my research is showing me that as well. It looks like it's going to be some amazing sunrises and sunsets there, and then exploring during the day. Oh, let's see. Oh boy, let's see. So Dwayne answered my question about 1880 Town, saying that is not far from the Badlands in South Dakota. And Adam says, while doing the Dakotas, don't skip Yellowstone and the Tetons. Went to the Tetons during the pandemic with my sons. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to budget that much time away from work to make it to Wyoming or not. I'll have to look at that. I didn't even consider that. Dude, you're adding time to this trip. And also, my Bronco, come on, it gets like 18 miles to the gallon. I'm gonna spend like $3,000 on gas doing this trip. But anyways, just wanted to mention those are some of the things that I've been doing in this downtime, in this uninspired time. I'm giving myself hobbies related to photography, and I've been spending time planning photography adventures to keep my heart and my head in photography, if that makes sense. Just because I'm not out photographing, I don't want to be disconnected from photography in some fashion. Of course, I'm still doing this. Unfortunately, not sharing as many photos on the podcast, but staying totally immersed in photography in one fashion or another, following the news in the photography world, and spending a lot of time just listening to podcasts as well, which I'm assuming most of the people here watching are also listening to other podcasts like Derek Stories, The Digital Story. Great podcast. He's a fun guy to listen to. So those are the things I've been doing. That and cleaning my gear. You'd be amazed at living in an old farmhouse like this, how dusty everything gets over time. I've literally dusted my gear twice since I've slowed down in my photography. And I'm also going through the process of figuring out which gear I'm not going to keep anymore, because again, spending close to a decade as an ambassador with Olympus, I accumulated a ton of gear, like a ton of gear. And I'm at a point now where it just doesn't make sense to hold on to a lot of that gear. I'm going to keep probably an EM1X and an EM1 Mark III and a handful of lenses, and then just liquidate the rest. So if there's anybody shopping for some gently used, although most of it's been soaked in the rain once or twice, Olympus gear, but it's all perfectly functioning well. Nothing that has fallen in a lake like me. I'll be putting some of that stuff up for sale. So be sure to reach out if you've got something you're looking for. I might have it for sure. One more comment here from Dwayne. He says, Cedar Pass Campground is right in the Badlands. The morning wake up view is intense. That's what I'm hoping for, is these morning views. I think Shelly and I might spend a night or two sleeping in the Bronco. I've got it set up, or we'll have it finished being set up so that we can camp right inside of that. So that's pretty cool. And Jeffrey McFeeder says he is also liquidating lots of gear. And that subject of liquidating gear and figuring out what you use and what you don't use and what you want and what you might want in the future is a perfect segue into the next thing that I wanted to talk about. And that's just this simple way that you can kind of help figure out what gear makes sense to keep and what gear doesn't. So let me just do a quick screen share and I'll show you how I've been doing it. It's super simple. And if you're a Lightroom user, then this will be right up your alley. So you should be looking at my Lightroom library here. And if you go into your library module, you don't want to be in develop. You want to be in your library module. And hopefully, if you've listened to this show long enough, I've talked enough about how I structure my Lightroom library. And you can see I've got a master folder on my external storage device here. I just call mine all photos, but it is called all photos because it's legitimately where all of my photos reside. And then I've got it broken down into years here. And you can see my big catalogs started in 2007. and it goes all the way until, well, 2022, where we're at right now. So if you're in the library module and you have selected your top level folder, which contains all of your images, up here at the top above your thumbnails, you've got some categories that you can highlight here. And if you select metadata and give it a second, depending on the size of your library, it's going to go through and it's going to tell you, and you can categorize these, so you can change these categories. But I've got mine set up so that first category is date, and it goes by the year, and you can expand these years. Okay. And you can notice some of these are older than 2007, like this master folder, because I also have stuff actually going back all the way to like just pre 2001, taken with old cameras. But I didn't start really cataloging my stuff till 2007. But I have this divided into cameras, lenses, and let me change this because I thought I had it set up differently. There we go. Okay. So to help cull the herd of camera gear, I have it set up in these categories. And then I can go through and I can look at basically all the cameras I've shot with going all the way back. And there's some weird ones in here. Like, I don't know what the heck this is. I'm thinking this is maybe an old flip phone from God knows when. But here we've got, the Olympus Air. I've shot with a few different Canon products that I've been handed by people, to test out over the years or whatever. All of my Olympus cameras that I've owned. Another couple weird ones, couple of Fuji cameras here, Sony, etc., iPhone, old Kodak point and shoots from way back in the day, even some cell phone photos here from an old Google Nexus. So you can see all the cameras, but then you've also got all the lenses, and you can look here and see which lenses you're shooting the most with. Unfortunately, Adobe, at least that I've seen, hasn't made it easy to sort by number here. And if somebody watching can show me how to sort by like the number of shots, that would be amazing. But for now, what I've been doing is just rolling through and looking at the lenses that got the most action. Okay. Especially with my Olympus gear. So here's where a lot of the Olympus lenses start. And I mean, we can look at this and see that the 12 to 100, I've shot 14,969 images with that lens, versus something like the 35 to 100 f2, which I just had it on loan from them for like a few days. So that's why there's only 14 photos. But go through and look at all of your lenses and see which ones you've shot the most with. Like this 14 to 150 Plastic Fantastic. I think I shot 7 photos with it and never touched it again. Literally. Old 14 to 42. Not the 14 to 42 easy, but the actual 14 to 42, 12 photos with it, never touched it again. Whereas the 14 to 42 easy, I at least used it for 1,070 images, that made it into Lightroom. So you can go through here and look at the focal lengths that make the most sense for you. If you've got some lenses sitting around that only have a handful of shots on them, and you've got others, that you're in the, whatever, like 10,000 plus images with that lens, you obviously want to keep the lenses that show that you're using them the most. Start getting rid of some of these others. I forgot I had the 90 to 250 for a minute too. Oop. And you can see some of the shots I took with that back then. But so just go through and see what you're using, what you're not using, and decide which lenses to get rid of. And then what's kind of fun is also look in here and see what kind of gaps there are in your focal ranges here. So let's say that, you've only ever had like a 14 to 42, or if you're Olympus, a 14 millimeter on up lens. Then maybe it's time to start looking at something, like an 8 millimeter fisheye or a 7 to 14, if you can sell enough used gear to get something, super wide like that. And then you can also go back and start looking at, like your focal lengths. Like, what is your most popular focal length that you're shooting at? I mean, I've got like 11,000, almost 800 images shot at 7 millimeters on the 7 to 14. I mean, obviously when I got the 7 to 14, I spent a long time not realizing you can zoom out past 7 millimeters. I shot it at the widest end possible. But, 12 millimeter, I shoot a lot with that. You start getting to some of these other, like, let's see, this is the majority of this is Olympus, by the way, because I've, obviously shot that stuff forever. But you'll start to see, like, there's some gaps in focal ranges. I mean, you start to get, just past 20 millimeter to like 25, just before 25 millimeters. So we'll say 24. Not a ton of photos taken with those, but you get to 25 millimeter, because I had the 1.8 and 1.2 Pros, there's a lot more photos there. So again, just using the tools here in Lightroom in your catalog, you can kind of get an idea of what you're using the most, what you're not, and look for things outside of what you used as far as focal ranges go, and then start looking for new lenses to experiment with. Maybe you didn't have, again, like an ultra wide, so you'd start looking at like a 12 millimeter or 9 to 18 or 7 to 14, something like that. So that has kind of actually helped me decide which of my Olympus gear I want to get rid of. That and stuff I had duplicates of. Obviously it doesn't make sense to sit on two of something. That's how Jerry's got a Pen F. So sorry, Adam. I know you were talking about wanting a Pen F, but Jerry's got mine. So my other one. So those are some of the things that have been occupying my time, my crafts. Yeah, I'm into crafts, and just figuring out what I want to do with this upcoming year. Again, I've got the Dakotas planned. I've been doing a lot of research and reading on the weather and what the forecasts are looking like for the storm season this upcoming year. So planning a trip that'll be spur of the moment, of course, to head back out towards Jeffrey McFeeder's neck of the woods, out towards Kansas and parts west of Michigan to chase storms. And then lastly, just culling the gear, getting rid of stuff that doesn't make sense to have, and potentially looking at selling some of that off and getting something different, maybe a different camera system. If I can pawn off enough gear, maybe I'll look at another Fuji, a bigger Fuji, and get a deal on a medium format. Would be pretty fun. So yeah, those are just, again, some of those things I've been doing. So Steve says, keep him in mind, looking at expanding some gear. Yeah, hit me up. I'll tell you what I'll do, you guys. I'll snap a photo of everything I'm going to get rid of, and I'll just make a post like on my personal Facebook page. So hopefully everybody watching is buddies with me. You see something you want, just shoot me a message and ask me how much. So Jeff Zimmerl says, everyone's selling gear. He just picked up a Pen F and an OM1 this week. So I've been a little curious about that. I'm wondering, I know there's obviously a lot of hype around OM Digital's new camera, the OM1, which there should be. I mean, it's the first new camera in a minute, especially under a new brand. But I'm curious what people who are still 100% committed to that system are thinking. Like, what is your confidence level in that company and that brand moving forward? I'm just really curious. I'd like to know, because I have been seeing a lot of gear for sale, not just from people I know, but in some other groups too. So interested to hear that. And Jeffrey wrote a small novel, which I will read. So he says he uses a similar way to analyze. He said he's also mindful that he's enjoying his new iPhone for more things than he would have a few years ago. And I agree with that. I've got an iPhone. It's the 12 Pro Max for work, but then I've picked up the Google Pixel 6 for my personal phone. And I do that too. I mean, I'm quick to jump out of my car for a quick roadside landscape or something that I don't want to play with too much in post, and I'll snap it with that, or it's just basically, like everybody else's, it's become my replacement point and shoot camera. So, and he says that he will do many travel tips using mobile cameras. I agree. It's the easiest thing it's just easy to pull it out of your pocket and shoot. But he says when he has 30 lenses, it's a chore figuring out what to take. I hear you. That's why I'm scaling down. I need to free up some real estate in my bedroom. I literally have 3 shelves full of camera gear that need to go away. So yeah, again, like I said, if anybody's interested in, it's all going to be Olympus gear. All the Sony gear that I have it doesn't equal what I have in Olympus gear. So I'm not really going to part with anything from the Sony system. So again, if you're interested, shoot me a message. And hey, what do you know? I've been talking for 30 minutes and I'm running out of things to say because I said everything I wanted to say tonight. So I do want to also announce, Jerry and I, we really want to do this meetup. We talked about it on the last show. We talked about a photo contest because we want to give away some gear. And this meetup, I wanted to do these two things. I want to do the meetup and I want to do a photo contest. And then my girlfriend, Shelly, in the audience here, she should be my manager for stuff like this. She had this great idea that why don't we combine the two? We're interested in going somewhere and doing a meetup. We'd like it to stay kind of within like Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, maybe Northern Kentucky, just kind of like in this area. If we could, I'll fly anywhere. Getting Jerry to fly across the country might be another story. But anyways, what we want to do, Shelly's idea here is, why don't you guys submit your best photo of the place you want us to meet up at? And then we get two birds with one stone. The person with the picture we enjoy the most of a location for a meetup, they win whatever the giveaway is going to be that we're going to do, the gear and accessories and things like that. And then we have the meetup in the place that you shared the photo of. I think that would be super cool. And I'm excited for this. So with that being said, the date is the 3rd, and let's run this until May 1st. I know that's a long ways away. We've got the entire month of March, the entire month of April, but I want to give people time to dig through your photos of your favorite location that you'd want to have a big meetup and hang out for like a day or two. And it also gives you a chance, if you don't have like a great photo from that spot, it gives you 2 months to go make one in that spot. So May 1st, keep your eye out on the Mirrorless Minutes Facebook page. I know we don't do a lot with that page, and I apologize for that, but I will make a pinned post on that page that sits at the top that details this whole contest meetup / this is going to be fun as hell thing. I'll pin that to the top, and you put your photo that you want to submit in the comments there. And I'll make the post, I'll pin it there. And then as we start picking out stuff that we're going to give away, I'll start editing that post and adding the item list there. So you'll be able to see it develop over time. Everybody will get to see what everybody else is sharing for an image and a location. And you've got till May 1st. Should be plenty of time to share a photo. And if you know somebody else who doesn't even listen to this podcast or watch it when we do it live that is into photography, that would want to be part of a fun meetup to go hang out and shoot with a bunch of photographers, especially since we've waited 2 years of this COVID BS to actually do things like this, tell them about it and invite them over to the page and tell them to share a photo there. When you do share the photo, though, please tell us where it's at. I've been to a lot of cities, but I don't have them all memorized by skyline yet. So if it is a city, I mean, hell, it could be a park somewhere in another state that's amazing. I know Hocking Hills in Ohio was mentioned the other week by one of the viewers. So again, if you've got a spot, share a photo, give a description of what the location is, maybe why you like it. And on May 1st, we will announce where we're all going to meet up. We're going to sit down and have dinner after shooting, drink a beer, a bourbon, whatever, a soda. It doesn't matter. I just want to hang out with as many photographers as I know online as possible. It's why I keep doing this show. I don't make any money doing it. I'm not famous, but I like you guys. So let's do this. So with that said, I'm going to end tonight's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and get those pictures over to the Mirrorless Minutes Facebook page after I make that post, which I'm going to do right now. You guys take care. We'll see you I won't see you in 2 weeks. I'll be in Utah in 2 weeks for my day job. So you'll find out when the next show is. I really don't know when it is. Maybe Jerry's going to do it by himself. We'll see. You guys take care. Until next time. Love you guys.